I'm Jeffrey Brown, the Executive Director for IABA. Um, the Emerging Leaders Program is IABA's leadership development program, and it's something that's been really near and dear to my heart. I think, Paul, you brought it to us, brought the idea to us, I think, 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago now. And it's been something that we've been working towards ever since. And we are in the process of completing cohort one with 11 participants. And I think from what Jennifer has just shared, we have some positive news that'll come from cohort one. So I'm excited to start sharing those experiences, but we will leave those for those participants to share those when they are ready. And so with all that being said, I'll turn it over to Paul. And so joining us on the call today are Paul and Nana, who are both our co-chairs for impacted member development. Again, both have been instrumental in ensuring that the Emerging Leaders Program took off. And then Paul was super instrumental in connecting us with Jennifer, who is the CEO of Growth. Hold on, don't tell me. I knew I was going to forget this. Growth Potential Consulting. She's the CEO there, and has done work with a lot of companies that are connected to IABA. And so when Paul brought Jennifer in, it felt like a kind of a match made in heaven. Jennifer helped us kind of ideate on what the program should look like early on, and then she transitioned over into being our primary consultant and helping us deliver the program. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop talking. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Nana. Thank you, Jennifer. Edwin, we see you here. If anybody else joins, we'll let you guys in the waiting room. But for Edwin, since you're here, at any point in time, if there's questions that you have, feel free to come off of you, throw your camera on, ask your questions, throw them in the chat, whatever is comfortable for you, and we'll make that happen. So thank you guys all for making this happen for us today. We are recording so that we can share later. So Paul, give it to you.
For that introduction. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about the leadership program, why you should apply, who should apply for the program, and give a high-level overview of what to expect if you're admitted into the program and the year-long time that you'll spend immersed within developing yourself. So why should you apply and who should apply to this program? When you step back and talk to a lot of actuaries of color, the way that they envision their career trajectory is, I sit for the exams, I'm an excellent student, I'm going to bang them out, get my ASA, get my fellowship in place, and then from there, I do an amazing job at work. I deliver what I need to deliver. I show that I bring the intellectual horsepower, and promotion and upward trajectory movement within the organization will happen automatically. This is usually the default when you come out of university, when you come out of completing the actuarial exams. And it's not one that we can fault ourselves for. Part of it is when you look at our community, we do not have the mentorship from young ages of individuals that have succeeded within the corporate space, succeeded to great heights. And so when you think of the Emerging Leaders Program and you think about your own career development, it is critically important to understand that movement upwards within the corporate space is in part your ability to complete exams to get a designation, an actuarial designation, is table stakes. It's just the first step in what you would need, the tools that you would need to succeed and move up. And so this program is designed to bolster and give you those wings that will help you fly, that will help you soar, that will help you reach the highest levels within corporate America. So who should apply for this program? Think of individuals that are ready to move into management. So you've been working within the corporate space, you've got your designation, either associate or fellowship level designation. You've spent several years within the corporate space. Maybe you are a subject matter expert, an individual contributor who is very strong in the work that they do, or maybe you manage a small team of individuals, you're just beginning in your leadership journey. This program is designed for you. So individuals that are ready to move into management level, individuals that are ready to expand their leadership roles. This program will help you strengthen your leadership presence and influence. It'll help you get a broader understanding of the business and how to of the business, its strategic positioning, and moving yourself from being an observer within how that organization makes money to being a critical, highly visible individual in crafting that story for that business's growth. Most importantly, this program embodies your ability to take your growth into your own hands. No one is going to give it to you on a silver platter. You may expect that because I'm doing a good job, I'm going to move up. The reality is, life doesn't work that way. Reality is far, far different. You have to hold the bull by the horns and steer your career the way that you would want it to progress. If you want to succeed, then upskill yourself, and this program helps you to do that. Going into a high-level overview of what to expect should you apply for this program. The program runs for 10 months. There is an in-person kickoff in November. At this in-person kickoff, you will have instruction with our professional development coach who will speak after me here. You will be introduced to your other program participants. And with it being in person, you get to feel what the next coming months will be like going within the program. So there is the in-person kickoff in November. There is also an in-person learning as well as graduation event in August at the annual IABA meeting. And then in the interim, you will participate virtually. So from January through July, you will be participating virtually. Our expectation from a time commitment point of view is, on average, you should spend about 6 hours a month for the duration of the program, for all the virtual commitments associated with the program. The program will be administered by Growth Potential Consulting. So we have a seasoned career development coach who will walk you through the paces in advising you, in teaching you, in exposing you to the elements, the qualitative elements that you as a leader need to either bolster, reaffirm, or nurture and grow to get you to those senior roles. And that administration of the program will be through simulations and case studies. You will have master classes sprinkled throughout the duration of those 10 months that you will be within the program. These master classes will be given or taught by senior leaders drawn from across the industry, from various practice areas within the insurance business. And the main objective or goal is for you to get insights outside of just actuarial into how other leaders within the insurance business operate, how they think, how they got to where they are, and how they move their business forward. You will have informational interviews. These are interviews where you go out within your organization and identify critical individuals within the organization with the goal of understanding what they do, understanding how that relates to the organization as a whole, and most importantly, with the goal of broadening your sphere of influence. One of the elements that is taught within the program is to ensure that your name is spoken in those rooms where decisions are made. And so these informational interviews will be your step into how to build that network of advocates who will speak on your behalf. Other items are facilitated discussions. These will be with our professional leadership development coach, Jennifer. And then you'll have mentoring assignments for the duration of the 10 months. IABA has been deliberate in identifying senior leaders within our community who held senior roles, and these individuals will mentor you to help you better crystallize what your career goals are. There'll be a bouncing board on ideas that you may have on how to advance your career. And because they have attained those senior roles, they will be able to provide you a perspective that you would not necessarily get from conversations with your peers or individuals that are at par with you. And so with that, I will believe hand it over to Jennifer to give a little bit more detail on the program, the curriculum, and what you can expect from an instructional point of view.
Thank you, Paul. That's very kind of you. So when you think about most leadership development programs that you may have participated in, they're very focused on specific either competencies or they're focused on leadership in a very broad context with practicing certain behaviors that align with whatever competency models that organization has in place because they're typically internally driven. When you think about the program for IABA, it's very different. It was developed based on years of experience working with people of color, specifically those individuals who had a desire to get to the higher levels of the organization and understanding what were the things that were getting in their way, what was preventing them from having their names actually spoken in those rooms, what was preventing them from having the knowledge and the skills that were necessary for them to be at the same level, show up in the same way that others within their organizations were showing up so that they would get considered for those higher level positions. And so the program and the content of the program is really designed around those specific, I'd say, areas or competencies or skills that are lacking in people of color when they don't have that information and knowledge. And so I wanted to start with that piece because sometimes people will say, well, what's the difference between participating in the IABA program versus participating in what my company might have? Or maybe even your company might say, what's the difference between the two? And it's really starting with the mindset or the framework that this is targeted for people of color and specifically people of color that are actuaries show up in this who have a desire to advance within their organization. So that's the first thing that I want to say. When we think about how is the program designed? It's a very, very much share some content and then it's experiential because the one thing that I know to be true is that as adults, the best way for us to learn is to have pieces of information and then take that piece of information and apply it in some context so that we can deepen our understanding and our learning about it. And then if we also have an opportunity to then speak that to someone else, it allows us to deepen the learning at another level. And so the in-person sessions are really designed to share that content for you to be in discussion with your cohort, to ask questions if necessary, but to really walk away from at least the first 2-day session with an understanding of the entire program overall and an understanding of what is the core activities that you'll be taking action on throughout the program. And then in your monthly program or your monthly facilitated discussions, we target some specific competencies. Maybe, for example, presence is one that we targeted, We'll talk about that over the course of some of the conversations, and there'll be activities that you can apply in between those in-person facilitated sessions. There'll also be opportunities in those facilitated sessions just to ask questions. They're more of an open forum because maybe something is occurring during that time. And so we'll continue those throughout the program. And then you'll have an opportunity to have 2 individual one-on-one coaching sessions with me where you can talk about specifically things like your brand, for example. So we've explored that in some of the conversations with the participants, helping them deepen their understanding of what it is today, what it could be, given their desire for moving to the next level within the organization, and what that gap is, and then what are some things that they can do to actually close the gap. Other topics in those conversations could be things around, I have an interest in maybe being promoted. And there's this position that could be opening up. What are some things that I should be doing now to prepare myself for that? Um, or it could be, how do I have this conversation with one of my sponsors? And so the conversations for the one-on-one coaching sessions that can come from a broad range of topics, really tied to what you specifically need in that moment. Also, we will be asking you to provide feedback. So you provide some feedback after the 2-day program, you provide some feedback at the midpoint and of course towards the end of the program. And that helps us continue to refine the content and also to refine the format of the program as we're moving forward. So those are just a few additional, I'd say, aspects that I can share or concepts I can share in addition to what Paul shared earlier today. And it would be great to then open it up for any questions, unless I missed something, Paul.
You got it.
I'm sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying you got it all, Jennifer.
Okay, perfect. Questions?
So Jennifer, I have a question for you. We started this conversation kind of talking about hinting that a lot of our current cohort participants are having success in kind of, in some cases, and I won't speak for all of them, or I'll speak more in generalities. Some have already been promoted. Some are well on their way towards seeking expansions in their roles, things like that. What's happening in the program that gets that light bulb to click or pushes people towards that transition? What's happening? Because this seems like we built targets to say, hey, we're probably 18 months down the road before we start to see people start to take these steps.
Well, some of the expanded roles and responsibilities probably were right there, right in front of the participant.
Mm-hmm.
Yet understanding how to position yourself in certain conversations, understanding the the truths of politics within the organization allowed them to potentially have conversations very early in the program that just led to expanded responsibilities. Okay, so for those, it was probably right there sitting there. It just hadn't been tapped into. And so helping them understand politics, helping them understand the importance of having sponsors, helping them understand how do you ask a person to be a sponsor, helping them understand, have you really tapped into your mentors? Those were the conversations we were having in November, that really kickstarted some of that. When I think about the person who went into the new role, um, they started having those conversations. Those conversations revealed something. Based on what it revealed, it gave them an opportunity to decide, well, what's next for them. And so then also helping them think through how do you, everything from how do you make a decision about what organizations you might look for, to what questions are you going to ask, to how do you now consider your offer. So the program allowed that person to have access to me for one-on-one conversations to help them with those different areas. If I think about the person who was considering the role, they started having conversations with people in the organization with informational interviews and their mentors. And next thing you know, a person then calls them and says, "Did you know that a position is going to, or not? Did you know a position will be coming open? I think you should apply for it." So I mean, that's how it happened. So the program created the infrastructure, the knowledge, the information, and the support for the participants to go on those journeys.
Thank you. And Edwin, at any time, if you're listening, if you're here, um, feel free to come off mute, ask any questions. But until you do, I have one more, if it's okay, Jennifer.
Sure.
And this is also because I struggle with how organizationally, how do we talk to corporate managers and leaders about why this program is so important. So if you could maybe spend a couple of minutes just speaking to that manager who may watch this whenever we put it up on social, or whatever their employee brings it to them and says, "Hey, watch this." Speak to that manager and just say, what are the benefits for sending your employee through a program like this, or not even like this? Let's just say this program particularly.
So there are a couple of benefits for allowing a person to participate and supporting that person participating in the program. If we think about the fact that success in any role comes from our confidence level, I was looking at some of the metrics again the other day, and I'm going to pull this number out of there. I believe it's the right one. Like 64% of the respondents said that their confidence increased over the course of the program, specifically relative to things like how do I show up more effectively in the organization? How do I position myself better as someone who's adding value? How do I communicate the value that I add in the organization? How do I have these informational interview conversations so that I can now make better decisions around the work that I do and the work that my team does relative to the organization, which ultimately means having a greater enterprise mindset. So if there's a leader who's thinking about why would you want someone to participate in a program like that, it's designed in such a way to help someone be a better leader. And by being a better leader, they're going to have a greater enterprise mindset, which means they're going to make better decisions. That's going to yield to better results. Now you might say, well, that could happen with any leadership development program. And as I mentioned earlier, this program is different in the fact that it's not trying to teach people the laundry list of skills that you might need from a leadership perspective. It really is targeted at specific skills that help people of color be successful as leaders within organizations. So did that kind of answer your question, Jeff?
It did. It did. I do want to maybe Nana and Paul, Edwin as well. If there are any questions that you guys have, what I'm going to do here is obviously after we're done today, put this up on social, and also obviously send it to all those who registered to be here who are unable to. But as you've seen this program grow, are there any other questions that you might have for Jennifer that will help kind of a participant understand the value of what we're trying to accomplish here?
Your family is for Yeah, I can jump in with one. One of the things that I think about is, a lot of what happens in your career is based on steps that you proactively take. And I imagine there's folks that maybe see it and say, "Hey, that looks interesting," then maybe don't take the step to go register or whatever it is. How would you frame this opportunity to someone that's doing fine, they're making enough money, maybe they're kind of curious about the next step, but may otherwise be kind of, hey, like my career's fine and might not be thinking about it that hard?
Yeah, that's a great question because it really does take motivation and desire to expand and move to the next level. So if there's someone who has thought about what the next level might look like, if there's someone who has a desire to have a greater impact in the organization, if there's someone who maybe their mentor or their sponsor today has said, they suggest that they take another position or they've suggested that they could do more in the organization. If any of those things have happened, then this program's for you. Also, if you're sitting there and you're thinking that I'm happy and I'm comfortable and I'm content, I will challenge you to say, will you be happy, comfortable, and content 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 5 years from now, if you're still in that same position? And if not, then this program is for you because it's going to help you actually explore what's next look like. What does that look like for you? It doesn't mean that it might be a promotion. Maybe it is just an expanded responsibility. Maybe it is moving from one organization to the next. Maybe it's moving from one department or division within your organization to the next one. Maybe it is moving up. Maybe it's saying to yourself, I was trying to make a lateral move and I challenge them to actually move to the next level. I mean, so the program really gives someone the foundation, or maybe it's the infrastructure to go on an exploration. And at the end of that exploration, you can figure out what is best for you. We're not going to tell you what to do. We're going to help you figure out what's best for you.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I love that kind of explanation.
Perfect.
I have a question for you, Jennifer. Thank you, Nana, for that question. My question has to do more with the travel time through the program and the feedback that you've received from the current cohort. For someone who's looking at this program, like, yep, I'm game, I'll do this. But my work, I'm in a valuation role. I have these periods where it's so intense, I can't even get my head up, or I have this, I'm launching a new product and I'm knee deep or full body deep in the whole thing. I can't dedicate time. What has been the experience and feedback from you as a facilitator of this program of the participants in terms of them balancing work, the program, life, and all that happens, and being able to, I know we're perfectionists, being able to get the most out of the program? I know that's a lot of rambling there, but I hope it gets the question across.
Yeah, it's a great question because it went into the design of the program. And it's also why this program is different than other programs. A lot of other programs, they shove a lot of things into it. And don't get me wrong, they're not bad things. But when you know you have people who are working critical jobs and have a limited amount of time, you have to focus on the things that are most critical and do it in the best way for them to maximize the impact in the time that we have. And so you were earlier talking about it's about 6 hours a month in the virtual. And it truly is designed that way. So there's a facilitated discussion that's about an hour or so. And then if it's a month where they're having a master class, that could be between 30 minutes to an hour. And then maybe they're having some interviews with people, so that could take the time. The program has been designed specifically to address what you said, Paul, because we realize that people are going to have crazy schedules and they may struggle with actually participating in the program. Now, I will also say this. There's a natural tendency to stay knee and body deep in work. And it's, when we do that, we miss an opportunity for people to actually get to know us. And in this case, participants get to know the participants. And when that happens, then that's when the participant is sitting there saying, why wasn't I considered for that promotion? Why do I feel like I was passed over for this or that? And so part of the program also challenges the participants that if they have direct reports, to delegate more to the direct reports. If they don't have direct reports, to actually work smarter, because 80% or even 85 or 90% done well is better than trying to have 100% done excellent. And we know this in the work environment, right? It's not about perfection. It is about being effective and making sure that it's right and it's accurate. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be, but not spinning our wheels, double, triple, quadruple checking everything if we've already done our checks and balances, right? And so it's really working smarter and helping them learn how to work smarter so that they can devote the time to being known in their organization, having those conversations, understanding how the business operates from a broader perspective, talking to sponsors or getting a sponsor if they don't have it, having conversations with mentors. So if someone is saying, I have all this work and I don't have time, but I have an interest, this program is also for you because it's time for you to think about where do you devote your time if you truly want to get promoted in the organization. People do not get promoted based on their technical capabilities. Now, let me say this. To a certain level in the organization, you do. You're really good technically, you might get the manager role. You're really good technically, you might get the second manager role. But if you're trying to get to an executive level, the executives are not focused on technical work. They're focused on enterprise decisions, which means you have to understand the business, how the business operates. You have to build relationships across the business, and people have to know you so that you can be considered for those positions. So that was a long-winded answer to your question, but I think I answered it. Did I?
You did perfectly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Edwin, any questions that you might have? You could also type it in the chat if you cannot speak.
Jennifer, I think I'm gonna throw it to Nana here to kind of walk us through, just quickly application process, and I think we can adjourn.
Perfect.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jeff. So briefly on the application, the link to apply is live. It's not a very extensive application. I mean, we do want you to provide some sort of justification or some sort of explanation of why you want to participate. But although the program does have costs, what we would say is apply anyway, and then work to sort out the costs on the back end, and we'll do what we can to kind of work with you on what that can look like. But we don't want costs to be a barrier to even applying or to be a reason that you believe that you can't participate in the program. So the application is live. I believe we can find it on the website, Jeff, or is it just something that's being emailed out? Okay, so it's on the website. It should be on the page for the Emerging Leaders Program. We are looking for applications to be submitted by August 14th. And so give an application in by that date, that would be great. We'll go through a review process with our committee here that's responsible for the program. Should be letting you know sometime by mid-September whether you've been accepted to the program or not. And then, as Paul mentioned, the program will kick off in November, mid-November, in concert with the IABA Leadership Retreat. And I believe that'll be in Atlanta. So you should have about 6 weeks to kind of sort out travel for 6 to 8 weeks to sort out travel for the initial opening session. Anything I missed there, Paul? Anything I missed about the process? I know I didn't maybe get on a ton of super specifics about the application itself, but just wanted to kind of provide a bit of a roadmap.
No, nothing that you missed, Nana. I'll just put one final comment that your career growth, it truly is in your hands. As much as we are technically competent, we pride ourselves as actuaries and being able to solve complex problems. That human aspect of our careers is something that we are not trained on. And this program will get you there. And your own initiative is what will drive that success. So please apply. We look forward to reviewing your applications. We look forward to your growth. We look forward to seeing you high up in those critical decision-making positions within the industry.
Thank you, Paul. And just to close us out, I just want to make sure that you guys understand as we think about what this program means for the organization. IABA started this program because we recognize that as an organization, we did not put enough emphasis on the development of our members that are already actuaries. We spent a lot of energy, time, and money focused on providing programming to students, which we will continue to do. But what we recognize is that we didn't do a good enough job of supporting members after they got their credentials. And so this program is for that person. This is a recognition by us as an organization that we can do better. We grow when you grow. And so I'm a firm believer that if you can see it, you can be it. And as you guys climb corporate ladders, it allows us to better recruit more people to join this profession. So to close us out, I'd like to thank Jennifer, I'd like to thank Paul, and I'd like to thank Nana for joining us today. If you have any questions, you can reach me or reach the organization at IABA@blackactuaries.org. we'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions about the program, provide you any material that you need to make the case to your supervisors or senior leaders. And if you are looking for the application, like Nana said, you can find it on our website at blackactuaries.org. Thank you guys so much. Have an amazing day. Goodbye.